G'day and welcome to episode 2 of our Boyanup Hockey Club podcast. We still don't have a name for it yet. Anthony Newlove did send a couple of names through, but unfortunately our legal team has said no. So we will try and keep looking and come up with a name before we get to episode 3. Today, one of the club legends and 600 gamer, correct?
Just over, yeah.
Just over. Jon Krikke, welcome along, John.
Thanks for having me.
Excellent, mate. So tell me, we'd love all to know to start with, the Jon Krikke story. Where did it start from?
Well, the Darty days. Grew up in Boyanup, so a few of the older people would know Les Maver. Pretty hockey mad back there in Boyanup Primary, so yeah, it just started from there. You know, you had to play hockey in Boyanup, and that was the end of the story. There was a bunch of hockey sticks there, and that was it. There was hardly any footballs on the ground or anything, but very successful there. We won a lot of premierships in those days, so yeah, it just went on from there.
So when was the first time you actually played for Boyanup away from Boyanup?
Boyanup, well, when I went to high school, I actually started playing with Towns, of course, as you know.
Big signing, lots of contracts, lots of paperwork, but we got in there.
My uncle played for Towns for all their very successful years, and I used to go down there on Saturday afternoons back when it was back Saturday afternoons on the grass and watched him a fair bit. So, yeah, played for Towns for a couple of years. And then, Laurie was living around the corner from us, approached us and, said he'd take us to training. So Mum was like, well, you're playing for Boyanup? And I did want to play for Boyanup because all my mates were there. Growing up in Boyanup, of course, or they all went to Boyanup. So I ended up really wanting to go to Boyanup. So, yeah, it was good. And then, started playing for Boyanup and so on. Yeah.
And so it was all Laurie's fault?
Pretty much. He said he'd give me a lift and famous lifts from Boyanup to Boyanup in the old Tyrrell's old Hummer.
Yep.
So, I don't really like talking about it, but it was then they were really good days, and we got looked after as a kid. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. And
what was your earliest memories of the club when you first come across? What was the kind of like, I guess, the thing you went, wow, I really remember those days for? What was the reason?
I think it's because it was the culture. We weren't overly successful when I first came to Boyanup. We struggled in the A grade a bit, but it was just everyone got looked after. Especially as a young kid, you pretty much got looked after by the older guys. There was always someone had your back, so it was mainly the culture. Yeah, it was the culture was really the thing that I found that was, I don't want to bag the old club, but there wasn't that thing. You went to a game, you finished, and you went home. Where here, it was talked about, you hung around, and yeah, it was just good time. And even out at Boyanup after the game, after training, you hung around and had a chat and talk and beers, and yeah, it was good times.
And you think that culture that you speak about, I mean, it's still pretty prevalent in the club these days, isn't it? With the way we look after our juniors coming through from seniors.
That's the main thing. Yeah, it's I think that's why it's been so successful. The culture has just always been there, and it's been built, and yeah, everyone wants to look after the next generation coming through, and you see the kids running around, and as a senior person, you love seeing those guys come through, and when they go up to Perth and play up in Perth, and even we had a couple play for Australia, it was like awesome, and you'd like to think that the culture built them up to there, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things we see all those guys like, the Greenies, the Marshalls, the Harvey boys, Nick McMahon, all those type of guys who have come through our club, and not just the guys, but also the girls as well over those last, 25 years since we kind of came back together as one big club. It's a good kind of standard for our club, for the young people who are currently in the club to aim for, do you think?
Oh, yeah. I suppose just in general, like in life, it doesn't have to be like successful in hockey, but just knowing that there's a culture there and people have got your back, and of course you see the kids coming to Boyanup and they're engaged and they want to be there, and and it's good you see the older guys take these kids under their wings and really get them to that next level. There's no one, if a kid's going to take your spot, no one, you're happy for them to take it. So, yeah.
Absolutely. So, and your current position, you're the threes men coach for 2026. I mean, you must see that, you've seen it for the last couple of years, been involved with threes, but taking on that coaching role. How important do you think that Divi 3 role is? We spoke to Karos last week, and we've got you here in both Divi 3 coaches. How important do you think that Divi 3 grade is to the club?
I think it hasn't really, in the past few years, it probably hasn't been a development team. Like the quality of kids that we've been coming in have been going to the twos, but looking at it this year, like the first game, we had a couple of young kids out there, and it's actually good to get them in, and I think it could be a good step for those real young kids that going through. Like I said, in the last couple of years, it's been a bit of a throw together, but I think, you don't want to lose anything. So to me, you've got to have those three teams, and got to have those three teams with numbers. And sometimes it's hard because you know what threes is like. So they don't want to train; they just want to rock up on the weekends. I think it's important once we start losing teams and start losing players, then you see the club start to decline. Like I said, as long as we've got that good, people want to come and play, then I think we'll be successful.
Yeah.
And so I think it's good to see it could be a stepping stone for the kids, but the twos is really where the kids really learn that senior ability and take that next step.
Yeah, we've seen the young guys come through, so like a young Bryce and Corey and stuff like those guys, and now they're up in the playing in the A grade. So I guess that whole development from their juniors right through and being supported all the way through. We got pictures on file of young Bryce when he was kind of like this high and like that, but now he's out there playing A grade. So it must give yourself, who's been involved in that for a couple of years, great kudos to say, hey, that was seeing those young guys go through.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's when you're sitting there and watching these kids come through, it does, and if you have been involved in it, it gives you a bit of a pride. It's my good playing days are well and truly behind me, and now it's just about a matter of what can I give back. And to me, if it's just helping someone a little bit, and especially these kids, that's a huge thing for me. Yeah,
absolutely. And for yourself, I mean, this year you've got, I think you told me 28 names on the Divi 3 list. Yes. How do you, as a coach, how are you going to manage that in 2026?
We'll find out. No, as we've said in the past, even last year I had 20-something on the list, and some weeks I was ringing people up trying to get a team together. But you'd love commitment every week, and but I know people have other lives, and we've got a few FIFO workers. The FIFO workers play threes pretty much. They're not in the ones. There is a few in the ones and all that, but there's a couple in there, and and look, we want to be there for. You'd love to give everyone a game, and naturally it seems to work out all right. That sometimes you got 16, sometimes you got 12, sometimes there hasn't been many times I've had to ask people to not play.
Yep.
It's probably been in the 3 or 4 years that I've been involved, probably 3 times that I've had to say, and usually it's tapping myself on the shoulder and saying, look, you're not going to get a game today. You're not good enough. So it's hard to organise sometimes, but and that's what you say. It's not really coaching the threes, it's more organising the threes and managing the threes. It's
Looking back over your career with Boyanup, tell me a few of the players, and I guess not just players, but even just club members, coaches, who have made a real impact on yourself over that time.
Well, Laurie, of course, he was the one that got me to the club, and then he's always been there. So Laurie, in the first few years, like there was when I first started playing, and like I said, it wasn't always that we were super successful at first. We were down with, we were getting flogged by Harvey and X's and all that all the time. But the Russ Harveys, Greg Gibbses, when I first came in, and then as I got into it, more the people that are on your own level, like Stephen Green and all that. That you became mates with people, and it was just they're kind of when you first walk into the club and you see these older people, and you start playing A grade.
Yep.
I played my first game at 16. And there was Dave Francis, Tyrrell, Gardner, Russ Harvey, and all them. And it was pretty overawing, and because they're guys you went to training with and went,
wow,
I want to get to their level, and and you kind of hope that, as you went on, some of the young kids probably might have looked at you like that, but I wasn't as good as them guys, but like I said, they always tried to, not just hockey, they always tried to teach you about life as well.
Yep.
So I think that's what really helped.
Yep.
Yeah.
For yourself, you're not just a player over the years and a coach and stuff like that. You've also been really actively involved in being a person that just gets into and does stuff. I mean, you are the current club person of the year, and all kudos to you. Don't need to go into specifics, but what is it that makes someone like yourself and other people who have been up for the awards and stuff like that? Why do you think the club inspires people who want to do things for the club and help out and pitch in?
For me, it was like I said, I haven't always been involved in the committee and all that, and I saw how a lot of people did it, and it was kind of like, well, they've done their job. Now, if we don't step up, then this club could go backwards, and I didn't want that. No one wants that to happen.
No.
So it was like, I just wanted to help out, and you see so many people do a lot of work, and like I said last year, I just want to help, and and if that, I was never chasing awards or anything for it, but I just want to. I see Anita do so much work, and yourself in the past, and Russell Atwood and Terry, and I just want to. To me, it's just if they need a hand or anything, I'm there. So, but I probably, mentoring the threes is probably my coaching ability.
Yep.
I'll never be in. So where else can I help? So, and that might be managing or being on the committee and stuff like that. So.
And going back to the coaching for a second, I mean, this year we've kind of got a bit more of a connection, I guess, between our A-grade man, as Laurie and myself, and then through to Trig, and then through to yourself, to make sure that we're, I guess, working a lot better between the three grades. How do you think that'll work as we move forward into the season?
So far, we've only been one game into it, but I think it'll work well because towards last year I know Trigwell was having trouble, I was having trouble, and then once we started, Laurie all of a sudden put Trigwell on our group chat, and all of a sudden we started talking, and things seemed to work out a bit better. Like, oh, can I have this guy? Can I do the 15-minute rule this week? Can I do this? And and talking to Trigwell already this year, it's been about the kids. We had a couple of kids in the, he was like, oh, we'll give you this one because we can only play in 15 minutes. It's good for him to get a full game in the threes. And so, I think going forward, we've got to get that communication, because there was for a while there a bit of a lack of communication between the ones and twos, but between the threes and everyone else kind of thing. So I'm really big on trying to get that communication back, and I usually talk to at least Trigwell every week, and who are you going to take this week? Are you short? We can, you can have this guy, and and we're encouraging. So I think it's important that we keep that communication up.
What about some of the old stages in threes? I'm going to kind of pick a couple of names. Like Paloozies, the Stingers, yourself. A few of the old guys still running around in threes there. Who's a couple of the guys we should be looking out for in 2026?
Older guys?
Yeah.
Well, we have got a couple of new guys. There was Dave Edwards that rocked up last week, and he impressed me a bit. He hasn't played for a while. Isaac's young brother, I don't know if he's younger or older actually, Angus, he was pretty impressive for a guy that hasn't played for a few years. Chucked him straight at inner and said, there you go, have it. You look like the fittest out of the lot of us. So and there's a few other guys that we haven't seen yet, but it's actually, there's a few guys that come to the club. I last week went in the change room, and a couple of guys that haven't been at training yet, they walked in and go, who the hell are half these people? But it's going to be tough, like with the numbers, to see how we. But I'd love to keep a few of those young kids in there and blend them in. So young Joe Williamson played last week, and he was pretty impressive. And Tom Atwood, I wouldn't mind, getting them kids, at least if they don't play every week, they get bled into the seniors and kind of get a taste of it, and then
go from there.
And I think threes could be a good stepping stone for them. It's not. I think threes is not like how it used to be, where all the old thugs used to be running around there hitting people. It's actually got a lot better in the last few years. We played last week, and it was pretty good between us and Donnybrook. It was just like a little bit of banter, but not much. It was it was just
good hockey.
Changed a bit,
And it must have been pretty special. You had Beats run out for his 600th. You had Tom, who you just mentioned, running out to play with Dad and his Uncle Terry in goals. What was the feeling amongst the team? And the A-grade boys stayed back and put their guard of honour up for Beats. So it must have been, that's a good club thing.
Oh yeah, and look, Beats is we all know Beats, and to see him hit that 600 mark was, he's got he loves the club. He's been for a rough trot in the past and all that, and he always puts the club down to being a part of the thing that got him through. So to see him run out on the 600 was, I was glad I was there. I was kind of like, it was going to be, they talked about it being it was supposed to be the week before in the twos, and I was kind of glad part of me was glad when he didn't play twos, because it was actually good that, he ran out there with us and played threes for his 600th, Yep. So,
and he scored.
And he scored, yeah. He told us about it after,
I'm sure.
But so
fantastic. For yourself, I did this to Karis last week, and I stole it completely off Front Bar. So I'm going to throw a few things at you and just need you to kind of like your things. So your first car?
Ford Cortina, a multicoloured one, because I put it on its side.
Yeah, okay, nice work. Actually, it sounds like quite a few of the Boyanup guys.
Yeah, and old gravel roads out the back of Dardanup.
Yeah.
Seem to have a bit of a attraction. So, but we put a few new panels on it and started back up. So
nice work, got there. A favourite colour?
Kind of like, I wear a lot of black, so black and grey is kind of my thing,
Nice, okay, good work. Favourite food?
Yeah. Probably my mum's spaghetti.
Okay.
Yeah, I still get it sauce off her.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next time you cook some up, make sure you give us some.
Back home for dinner each week.
Yeah.
What about, again, I've stolen it straight from Pangy, so I'm sorry, Sam, if you watch this and you go, hey, that's mine.
I don't think you will be.
This is going places. Jono, thanks very much. Showed me some, love there. The threes men have had a good win, and you've invited them all back to your place. What are you going to cook for all the boys when they come home?
They should cook for me.
Oh,
No.
right, okay. You heard that first, right?
Probably a barbecue. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing like cooking a few sausages and steaks on the barbie.
Yeah.
Maybe potato bake.
Okay. Favourite drink?
I like a scotch.
Okay.
Yeah, good Jamesons or something like that.
Fantastic. What about for yourself? Is there, over the years when you've either been playing or when been coaching the threes or involved, however, is there somebody who's actually really inspired you? It doesn't have to be within the club. It can be a sports person or a famous person or somebody you just look up to. And who is it and why?
Good question. I used to be right into basketball when I was a kid. So, I was always a big Michael Jordan fan, Michael Shoemaker fan. Yeah, but as in, I will admit, when I was a kid, I did look up to my uncle who was playing for Towns. I used to go down, we used to get dragged. I used to stay at Nana's half the time on Saturday afternoons and go down and just watch them.
Yep.
And, he was kind of the same position player as me, inside left, and, he was a bit more of an idiot than me. But, I suppose in my junior days it was him, kind of. I kind of looked up to him, and that's why I really wanted to play for Towns at first. But at Boyanup, like I said, it was just when I first came to Boyanup, there there was all those older guys that you looked up to, and like I said, they helped you. So no one got shirty that you were there or anything. No one got, he shouldn't be playing here, or
Yep.
they were just they just took you under their wing and just looked after you.
Excellent. What about for yourself when you're out there? If there's anything a bit of advice you'd give to our junior players coming through, either the young guys who are playing in their threes now or watching this when it goes on YouTube or whatever, or the young guys who are in our junior grades and coming through, what's your advice to them?
Just try your best and, just be a good person. And, like I always said, if you build a good culture, everything else will happen. So just get involved and just be a part of it. And, if you put yourself there, people will embrace you and take you along for the ride. I remember old Jack Goodsell. We used to call him Whispering Jack because he used to just sit there and say nothing. And then once he got out of his shell, he was like, just listen to what the older guys have got to say, because believe it or not, they do know. And, they try to tell you at trainings and all that, and you see them, most of the kids are actually engaged. So, just listen and embrace it.
And my final question to you, John, for 2026, what's your prediction for the threes men?
I think we can win it. I think we can. There's definitely the talent and the blend there that can definitely win it. It's just a matter of putting it all together out in the field. So I want premiership. It's the only premiership I haven't got. Yeah. So it's kind of like I wouldn't mind winning this before I pack it all up and just disappear into the sunset. Like, but I've never won a threes premiership. So won the other grades, but never a threes. So it would be something good to win. So I'm predicting grand final win.
Let's be there.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks, John.
Too easy. Thank
Great
you.
Work. Well done, mate. Good work.